We have been experiencing some hella technical difficulties over for the foreseeable. Well, let me snatch all that back. See, I can't even get my mouth right to say what I'm trying to say because it's been so long since I've been in front of the mic. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties, and hopefully, if I'm having some right now, you'll let me know down in the chat because I don't want to sit here and talk for half an hour just to find out that y'all ain't hearing a word that I said. So let me know if I'm sounding well. Yeah, but today, we're gonna finally get this conversation out about Star Trek, and I'm leaving it open for any Star Trek, but I really do want to discuss what happened in the finale of Star Trek Picard season 2. I also wanted to discuss what happened in the season premiere of Strange New World, and some of the exciting things that are on the radar for the future. So if you guys are out there and you're hearing me, please do me a huge favor. Let me know in the comments that I'm coming across. Besides that, I've been sitting here waiting to start this stream for some time here, and I ain't pull up not one thing that I wanted, um, not one thing to assist me in this. In this, what's up, Clarence? Am I sounding okay, sir? Please let me know because I hate to sit here and talk my head off just to find out that ain't nobody hearing me. Um, yeah. Now, I haven't listened to anybody really talk about Star Trek Picard, the season finale, simply because I've been trying to formulate my own thoughts and my own feelings. And let me tell you, this season has been kind of up and down for me. Wasn't I'll say this, and this is what I was trying to say the other day, and nobody was able to hear me. That if we would have taken the first episode of Star Trek Picard, season 2, the last episode of of Star Trek Picard, season 2, and then maybe just some of the highlights from the middle episodes, that's all we needed. We did not need 10 episodes of this series. It could have been done probably in 6. And this is something that a lot of series creators, showrunners need to take from the MCU. The MCU has been giving us maybe 6 to 8 episode seasons of a series, and that has been just enough. Yeah, they're not giving us too much story. In some cases, you might feel like they're not giving us enough story, but they're definitely not giving us too much. And by too much story, I mean drawing out a story that could have been uh, that could have been completed in four to six episodes. So that is how I'm feeling about Star Trek Picard season two. Six episodes would have been sufficient, and it that even might have been too much. Angus in our Discord, and don't let me forget to invite you to join our Discord and to continue these conversations over there because we do have some good discussions, especially when episodes first land and all of our thoughts are getting put out there in a kind of organized confusion, organized chaos kind of way. But then when we go back, you can see exactly where our minds were as we were watching the series. And one of the things that Angus said, um, Angus is one of our regulars over here in our group in our chat. Angus said this could have been a two-part episode. It would have been like a two-part episode of Enterprise or a two-part episode of TNG. We did not need 10 episodes. Definitely didn't need 10. I think we could have sufficed with six. And that might have been pushing it. I feel like there were a lot of wasted opportunities and there were better ways to use these characters. I'm going to explain one right now. One of the better ways to use the characters would have been to leave Raffi, Seven, Rios, to leave all of them in the past. I'm trying to think, was there anybody else who I thought we didn't need? To leave all of them in the past. The only person that needed to come with Picard to the future came, but he didn't contribute. I mean, I'm sorry. We could have left. Let me go back. We could have left Seven, Raffi, and Rios in the original timeline. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Going back into the past, uh, yeah. Going back into the past, the only people that we needed was Picard, Q, and Elnor. And Elnor we didn't even get too much of as they went back into the past. I say Elnor because there was already uh, a ward type relationship with Elnor, and Elnor is Kawat Malat. And what is their specialty? Their specialty is lost causes. He could have gone back on this lost cause mission with Picard, and there would have been no need to do all of this extra stuff trying to make an imaginary relationship between Raffi and Elnor because there's a confirmed relationship already with Picard and Elnor. And then you wouldn't have to have full episodes, and full arcs that went nowhere with our characters because they could have been in their original timeline trying to figure out how to bring Picard back. Or they could have gotten killed on Stargazer, however you wanted to look at it. Clarence in the chat has said he really hopes that they find a mix between self-contained and mystery box stories. I agree, 100%. And then we get uh, Picard or John, I'm not John, Patrick Stewart saying this next season of Star Trek Picard is not going to be a walk down memory lane. So there is going to be some stakes, I hope, to this whole situation. We're going to grudge, stop, 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 my cat. There's going to be some mystery about what this that they're doing, but you know what? I'm not going to let Star Trek Picard stress me out because that is one of the things that happens to me. I love these types of serialized stories, but I cannot get out of my own way. And I am trying to figure everything out. And that is one of the things that I shared with the guys over in the Discord group is how relaxed I was watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds because each episode is going to resolve itself, hopefully, most of them will resolve themselves by the end of the episode. I can relax. I can just watch and enjoy the story. I don't. I don't have to think so much. I felt I felt like I could actually just take this ride instead of trying to figure out what's going to happen next. These things really stress me out. So, as much as I enjoy speculation as I call it, I'm telling you, it is a stressful thing for me, and nobody is making me do it. Nobody is making me do it, but I can't help it. So I feel that way when I'm watching Star Trek Discovery. I feel that way, felt that way with Star Trek Picard. Sometimes even though I really am enjoying Prodigy, I felt that way with Prodigy too. Not so much with Lower Decks, but Lower Decks and I have a love hate relationship. But definitely, Strange New Worlds, breath of fresh air. Uh, really, just a very cheery, more upbeat. Even though something might happen during that series, I feel like that by the end of the series, everything will have a nice, neat bow on it, and that things will be, I can breathe at the end of an episode. And I enjoyed that. I really did. So, now we talked a little bit about Star Trek Picard and how I felt about the entire series. This farewell episode did wrap things up in a satisfying way, um, for the most part. And a lot of what we discussed while I was stressing out about the details of each one of these episodes, a lot of the things that we discussed did come to pass. The with the last big reveal thing was a Wesley Crusher. I called that, y'all. Whoop, whoop. I called that. So I feel like, for as all of the ups and downs that went throughout the season, it was a very, very promising start to the series of season two. And the final episode was definitely satisfactory. That Corey, that went really nowhere, but I'm glad that they found a way to make her relevant. Soon, we see his whole arc really went nowhere, but it did introduce us to the fact that Project Con started back in 1996, and that we're going to assume that he picked up the threads of what had been started in 1996 and continued that project, which resulted in the eugenics war. Now, there is some uh, there is some disagreement amongst the fandom about what that meant. I felt like it meant that he was going to be the father of the what are we calling them? The enhanced being. What are they called? Augmented being. If we're, I believe that this Adam Soon was the father or the grandfather, maybe even, of the augments projects, and that we move on to was it Eric Soon? Eric Soon, who actually started doing some of that experimentation on actual humans. But one of the things that I was thinking before I start just rambling on and on about this is that one of the things that I was thinking is that he started it, his grandson or uh, one of his descendants continued it, and that he and that the wars that they are discussing, I thought they said in Strange New Worlds, and I could be wrong. I thought they said we called it at one time the eugenics war, and then we went on to call it something else, and then we called it World War Three. So, are they saying that all three of those wars are the same war? If you have any feedback or any what any feeling about uh, what they meant when they said that, or if they really said that, if I'm just hearing things. Because I have to watch that episode, Strange New Worlds, a third time because it was an enjoyable episode, A, and then B, some of those things I have to tell y'all. I got some contacts, right? So when Strange New Worlds came on, I didn't have the contacts. I couldn't see a lot of the details, and it takes me out of it when I can't see. So I couldn't see a lot of the details, and now that I can see a little bit better, it just brings it's a whole nother layer of the story that I'm getting because I can see. So now I'm going to watch that episode again, and we are going to find out exactly what Pike was saying when he went into talking to the the two warring factions on this planet that was holding Una captive. So I've said what I said about Star Trek Picard. I've said what I said about um, Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Those are two things, or two totally different shows, and I did enjoy a lot of Star Trek Picard. I really enjoyed that Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode. Let me see what Clarence got for me over here. You said you think Pike mentioned them separately. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen to it again because I was like, okay, is he saying all of these is the same war? Okay, so then there are at least two separate wars. There might have even been three. Let me know if I missed one. I know he said the eugenics war, and I know he said the World War III. So those were two. And what Clarence is saying is he believes that they are two separate wars. And all the way up until the other day, I felt like they were two separate wars too. So we're gonna look at that again, and I'll be able to tell y'all exactly how, if I'm feeling any different. Um, what did we think about Rios staying behind? My cats are getting on my nerves. I want to put them out, but I don't want to put them out. um, what did we think about Rios staying behind? It wasn't a surprise. I felt that there were there would he would either stay behind, and this was after consulting with the think tank, or that he would have to make a sacrifice, uh, a la Edith Keeler must die from City on the Edge of Forever. So okay, he stayed behind, and he lived out his life with Teresa. I felt like that was forced, even though you could say the same for the City on the Edge of Forever. But in the City on the Edge of Forever, when Kirk fell in love with Edith Keeler, I believe he and Spock were in this past timeline far longer than 3 days, because that's how long Picard and his little ragtag group were in the past. They were there for 3 days. So, would a couple fall in love with a woman in 2024? Yes, yes, Clarence. Uh, would a woman in 2024 meet a guy 3 days ago, fall in love with him, have him around her child, and then just say, okay, you from the future, but you can stay with me in the past? I don't think, no, I don't. Even though I have covered Tinder swindler and all types of stuff that happens when women move too fast in relationships. So we know that there are points when women move too fast in relationship, and men for that matter. But that don't even sound right to me. You'd have met this man, you've known him for 3 days, and you fall in love and have him around your son. You met him, he homeless, he don't have any papers, you don't know who he is, you don't know him from Adam Soong. So why would you do that? That was an unbelievable arc, and it was a terrible waste of a character. Terrible waste of a character. So, um, and Clarence, I'm probably um, I probably leaned more your way when I heard you say that you believe that he's going to stay in the past. I was leaning more towards, oh, they're gonna kill the Teresa lady. But then I started thinking, like, would they kill her? She got a child. So my thoughts were kind of all over the place until you guys introduced me to the theory that maybe he stays behind. Even though I still felt some kind of way because I'm like, okay, there was so much where they were saying we should not leave any butterflies, and they went to the past and effed everything up. Even though the explanation is, oh, all of this was supposed to happen. No, it wasn't. No, it was not. It was not supposed to happen. So, anywho, I agree with you, Clarence. They wasted Rios. They wasted Rafi and Seven. I liked some of what they did with Seven, where she got to uh, get a feeling of how she was outside of the collective or outside of having the board implants. Anything that would call her bored. She presented herself as 100% human. I liked that. She got to get an understanding or a feeling of how she would be received by a society that never knew that she was bored. But then the rest of it was a waste. They kept them just in a holding pattern throughout this entire uh, throughout this entire season, pretty much. Those characters were given just blank missions, and then they would complete the blank mission and then get another blank mission. The only person who really had anything to do was Picard and Talon. Even they even wasted her in a lot of ways because the times that she would have been of the most paramount importance to their mission, she wasn't around. You know, had she been with them in the FBI interrogation room with that wasted character Duquesne, had she been had she been there, she could have used her little smoky transporter thingy to get him out. Instead, we got a lot of expository dialogue from Q and Guinan. And even though a lot of what John Delancey did was good, because we know that he's a heck of an actor. Whatever material you give him, he's going to bring the best out of it. But it still it just felt shoehorned in. Okay, yeah. Clarence says Seven got to be a captain at the end, so he forgives the rest. Yeah, but are they going to keep her a captain? Because okay, there's also been a lot of talk about who's not coming back next season, but we know Raffi and Seven are two of the characters that will return. When they return, is Seven still going to be a captain? Will she have proven herself to Starfleet uh, that they would give her a command? I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. She had already proven herself, if you ask me. She had already proven herself with the crew of the Voyager. So when Admiral Janeway spoke and vouched for Seven and making her part of Starfleet, they didn't listen. That was terrible too. That's a terrible thing. You said also no explanation on how she looked. What you mean, Claire? No explanation on how she looked. I'm trying to remember. I tell you that one of the problems I had while I'm waiting on you to expound just a bit, so I know what you're talking about here. Um, One of the things that I did not like is that she walked around with the bloody clothes on from when the Board Queen, attacked her, and she was in Guinan's bar with this bloody ass shirt on, and I'm like, ain't nobody saying nothing. This don't mean anything to anybody else, really. So yeah, there was so much, but I didn't I didn't take points away for that for this whole entire season of Picard. because so many of those episodes that I really didn't get a chance to talk about because I was doing I had all of the technical difficulties and my my own personal issues that I had. Um, there were four episodes that, or yeah, I think it was four episodes that I didn't talk about, and they were almost inconsequential to to the overall enjoyment of the season. Those four episodes that had no bearing to me on my enjoyment of the season. So because 4 out of 10 episodes to me could have been written away, I would give this probably a 3 out of 5. And I'm saying 3 out of 5 because it was still over half of the episodes that I kind of got something out of. So 3 out of 5. Uh, these cats are losing their shit. I might have to put them out of here. They got the zoomies. I should have let my son evict them a little bit ago. um, then Elnor survived, right? Elnor survives. We go back to the future, and he's still on the other ship, and I forgot what the name of that ship is, but he's still over there, very much alive. And then we find out that he's not coming back next season. So, no Q, probably no Guinan, probably well, definitely no Rios, no Elnor, no Agnes. Uh, and then we are getting the TNG crew. So, okay. Ooh, these cats getting on my nerves, y'all. They getting on my nerves. I'm gonna have to put them out. I mean, and they are just jetting through here. Okay, so let me talk a little bit more about Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which I truly enjoyed. Starting with, starting with a little bit of Mountain Man type. He looked really good in his Mountain Man form. I enjoyed getting a look into I guess, what culture looks like in his era to see a television because they usually don't show like TVs in the quarters of people in Starfleet, members of the Federation. They don't show television, so I was unsure if they were still using television as a means of entertainment. So that was good, and I guess a good thing to see. Um, let me see. What else? April, Admiral April. There were some people who felt some type of way about that, huh? Um, I thought, I think his name is Adrian Holmes. I thought he did a fine job. He really looked good. Uh, I mean, really looks good. I felt like he did a fine job of bringing Pike back into the fold as the Enterprise was being repaired after all of the damage that was done from the end of season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. So this ship had to undergo extensive repairs, and the crew was put on shore leave while these repairs were being uh, conducted. But number one, just couldn't sit her ass still, so uh, she took a mission, and she a mission that was a first contact mission. She goes to this system because they had uh, they had seen that there was a warp signature, so they felt like, okay, this is a civilization that is that is going to be warp capable. They are warp capable. So let's go and holler at them and see if they want to join the Federation. Yeah, I got you, Clears. Everything was kind of retro about the cabin. Yes, retro for that era. So he bought it. Yeah, I liked it. I like to see what they were, what kind of, I guess, what kind of life they you could expect a civilian to have in that era, because we've always seen it from the standpoint of a Starfleet officer. Yep, playing the day the Earth stood still on television. He just keeps watching it. Yes, and it seems like, don't you correct me if I'm wrong, but when we see them watch television or enjoy media from the past, it is always really, really, really old stuff. Nothing from our era. You would think this, for instance, you would think that one of the shows or movies that they would watch would be something from this time. Like for instance, 12 Monkeys. Since Terry Matalas is the showrunner of Picard, and he is also was also the showrunner of 12 Monkeys, you would can see that being played in the background. But I guess I'm just asking for stuff because I'm here. This is where I am, so I'm expecting certain things. Number one went missing during this first contact mission, but until he realized the gravity of the situation. But number one, and he was ordered to get his ass back together, get it together, and get and undergo this mission to save Una and her little crew. And as we discussed this in the Discord, we realized, okay, this was a three-person crew. It was Una commanding the mission, and then she had two other astrophysicists in the USS Archer. So the question for us was, who sends out a starship with only three people on it? When we found out was that this is a Hermes class ship, even down to it only having that one nacelle. We didn't pay attention like that. And yeah, yes, Clarence. we didn't um, we didn't really particularly pay attention to it having one nacelle at first. Then we realized, okay, it's got one nacelle. That USS Archer is a scout ship, so it's made for these little runabout type missions. That too, 12 Monkeys right now is not a classic. Only those classics are going to be remembered. So yeah, that is another way to look at it. Um, and what else was I going to say? Oh, before I go into what were we talking about? USS Archer. Before we talk about that a little bit more and that mission, there was a shuttle Stamets. There was also the USS Martin Luther King Jr. Those were two uh, mentions of other vessels, and they were named after, of course, Martin Luther King Jr. We know who that is, but then also the shuttle Stamets. I am presuming that that shuttle was named after Stamets because of the sacrifice that he made during the events of Star Trek Discovery Season 2. And it's also made me question whether or not we're going to see other ships named after each of the primary people from that season of Discovery. Only time will tell, right? All right. So we also see Spock on Vulcan. He's on a date with T'Pring, who he has been betrothed to. Their entire, the way I understood it from Amok time from TOS, the original series season. I think that was season 2, episode 1. I think the way I understood it is that they were promised to one another from birth, but they don't marry. I'm supposing, as what we're learning in Strange New Worlds, they don't marry until the female proposes to the male. So when she's ready to make this thing happen, then she proposes marriage, and then the man will accept her proposal. Excuse me. We also learn that Spock and Supreme, even though they are engaged, they are already sexually active, crazy as that is. Okay, so Spock, of course, is bound by duty to Starfleet. So when Pike makes the phone call, hey, I need you to come on back to the fold because we got to go out and save Una. He was like, yeah, Spring understand. Spring was like, I don't understand. We was just about to get it on. And you get this phone call and you answer it and then tell somebody how I feel. So I can understand, Spring had a little, she was feeling some type of way. But anywho, um, Spock leaves. I guess this is where we will see T'Pring start to sway towards being with the other guy because Spock is gone. Gallivant, excuse me. I'm so sorry. If you're watching this on rebroadcast, I'm not bored. I take a medication. The medication, one of the side effects is it makes me yawn. It makes me really tired as well, but it makes me yawn. So I'm not bored and I'm not disinterested. It is a side effect of a medication. Okay. Um, so the Enterprise, they get the crew back together, all except for Una, and they take their butt to Kylie 279, a very a planet that is in a very similar place to what Earth was in the 21st century. Especially this planet is on the brink of civil war. Um, our civil war would probably be what they called the eugenics war. I'm sorry, so sorry. Um, so the eugenics war, or World War II, or I mean World War III, or whichever war we're talking about. Um, Pike gives them a big old pep talk about how they don't want to end up the way Earth did prior to becoming this utopian society. There was some big wars that were fought on that planet, and Pike tells them you can do it one way or the other. You can kill yourselves, or you can join the Federation. And I'm giving you, those two options. We will be glad to have you. Um, but uh, before he pretty much gave these options to this planet, Pike was struggling with the knowledge that he found out during Star Trek Discovery Season 2. And that knowledge being that he knows exactly the time and the date that his life is going to be changed irrevocably. And that is what ends up putting him in that chair that we saw him in the original series. That episode, and I forgot the name of the episode. Menagerie, the menagerie. Yeah. So that episode, we saw what happened to Pike in the past or in the future from the cage. Pike had already had that knowledge, and he's struggling with knowing when he is, when this is going to happen. Not only that, he's scarred mentally because when he had this revelation, he could feel exactly how he will feel when this event happens. So he's got the psychological scars of that, and also the psychological pressure of knowing that he's going to this horrible accident is going to happen. And he has an opportunity at this point to make peace with knowing how or what happens to him in the future. But he's not there yet. He's not at peace yet. And The only person who he has shared this with is Spock, uh, because Spock was with him on, he was with him on Discovery, so he can share this with him because this is not him breaking the promise of never mentioning Disco again in the Prime timeline, right? Um, okay, so Pike and his crew, they do save Una and her little crew from the USS Archer, and they did that by, they did that by disregarding General Order Number One, which has been now switched to the Prime Directive. Now, I have a problem with them calling it the Prime Directive in Stranger World. And the reason why, excuse me, it is, and I'm gonna wrap up in a few because I'm going through this yawning episode. But in original series, we didn't call it the Prime Directive. Now, I did. There was a little throwaway line that Pike said, like he said, that's never going to stick. Prime Directive, that's never going to stick. So it would kind of explain why the original series is still called the General Order Number One, whereas every series after that was calling it the Prime Directive. I think I don't know. I don't know how I feel, but here we are. We know what the Prime Directive is. It is a staple all throughout Star Trek. So okay, I get it. Um, Pike is recommitted to Starfleet and as the captain of the Enterprise, and they are going on this brand new 5-year mission of exploration throughout the galaxy and beyond, hopefully. And yeah, now we get to pick up where from here we're picking up and going into all of these different adventures with this crew. Now, we met Nurse Chapel. Nurse Chapel is pretty good with changing people into what do we say? Resequencing people, resequencing some genomes to make people appear to be another uh, race or another species. So we know that she's good with that. She is not Starfleet just yet. She is a civilian, but she is in uniform and she's working alongside Dr. Mbanga. Dr. Mbanga. But okay, so we met them. We also met Laan Noonien Singh, who we know is a descendant of Khan Noonien Singh, and she is also the lone survivor of an attack by the Gorn on her people. So again, we're hearing about the Gorn. It's a little early, but I'll forgive that. I'll forgive the Gorn being in Strange New Worlds or even being mentioned in Strange New Worlds. Um, then we also met Cadet Uhura, who at her she's young and green, but she's good at what she does. I like that she is getting far more than Lieutenant Uhura. That she's getting far more to do already. Um, Let me see, who else did we meet? Ortegas, who is pretty good behind the wheel of Starship. So I like her thus far. There has been some uh, complaining that besides Kirk and not Kirk, besides Pike and Spock on the bridge of the Enterprise, everybody else is a woman. Now I didn't pay attention because again I couldn't see as I was watching, so I didn't pay attention to see if people in the background were there any males. But if they are all female, so what? We know that we got Dr. Mbanga, we've got the Andorian that we're going to have soon here. We have Kirk, Samuel Kirk, not Jim Kirk, but the daddy. We got Kirk. We've got an awful lot of men that we will see throughout the series. So calm yourself. It's okay for it to be women on the bridge in 2022. We don't have to follow the blueprint of what was groundbreaking in the 1960s. No longer groundbreaking for there to be a woman on the bridge, or for there to be an African woman on the bridge. I won't even say African American, because Uhura was supposed to be from Africa. So a black woman. This is not groundbreaking anymore. So now, if we w- if Star Trek wants to continue to break ground, it has to continue to do things that has never been done. So if it bothers you, if it gets under your skin that there are women, too many women, if you can count and be like, all right, three is too many. If you feel like it's too many women on the bridge of a fictional starship that is flying through space and meeting aliens, then maybe you need to examine yourself. You might have a problem. You might have been one of the people who would have had a problem with Star Trek in the 1960s when you saw that black woman on the bridge. What is an Asian man on the bridge? A Russian, somebody who could very well represent communism. He's on the bridge. Oh gosh, for heaven's sake, that might have been you in 1960 something, because it shouldn't bother you. It shouldn't bother. This is not real. None of it is real. It's fiction. It's a fictional universe. So yes, there is, of course. While I am downplaying playing that this is not groundbreaking, it is so wonderful knowing that little girls, specifically women of the young girls of color, young girls, uh, are going to see themselves represented in the fandoms that they might love moving into the future. And then I'm going to have a grandchild here soon. It's a boy, though. He's not a little girl. He's supposed to be a boy. So, okay, we put him in front of the TV because you know I'm going to, right? Gonna have him watching all the Star Trek with his Danny, with his Gigi, right? So, uh, teaching a young man at a young age that women are just, I mean, there are certain things that only, I guess, a male can do, but for the most part, a woman is capable of attaining the exact same successes that you are. And she is going to be not just a person that you have to protect and look after and baby, she can be your partner, true to life partner in your life. It's a whole different way of looking at things, and I like it. I'm here for it. And so if I look at Star Trek: Strange New Worlds and do find that there are uh, more women than men, so be it. So be it. More people of color than white, Caucasian people, so be it. So be it. These are things. This is part of living in a world. There are going to be times where, at any time, you can be the minority. Yeah. So, um, yep, I've said a lot. I've talked a lot about the two episodes of Star Trek that we got last week. Cannot wait to see what comes of Star Trek Strange New Worlds this week. I'm very much looking forward to it. And hopefully, since I'm guessing that this broadcast went over kind of well, that we'll be on for Sundays again, where I could talk about these things. If you if you're interested, Sundays, we do a little something called Stream Something Sundays, where we talk about shows that have been streaming. Sometimes we ask for you all to give your suggestions. Tell us a show or movie that we need to be streaming, and I leave it at streaming because that is how I am taking in my content. I don't do broadcast TV too much anymore. It's usually streaming. So those are things that we do on Sundays at 6 p.m. Central Time. So if you'd like to join, I am rolling out the red carpet. I am also probably going to be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. We just talk about entertainment news. There's some things to talk about too. Um, big movie came out this past weekend. So we're going to talk about uh, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness tomorrow. We'll do it in a non-spoiler way because I know it's still week one and a lot of people haven't seen it. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I will give you my very surface thoughts on uh, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing that. That's the midweek meltdown. So join me then. If you like to hear more talk, more discussions, I am so here for it. And I am inviting you to join me here again tomorrow. So, with all that being said, I have enjoyed talking to you today about these two shows. Oh, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, I did not give you a rating. Did you think it would be anything but five? I really enjoyed Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Really, I did. And I really look forward to talking about the next episode with you. So, with all that being said, I'm going to get on out of here. I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow, 6 p.m. Peace.